Can you hear us?
No.
Is it too loud? So I thought what we would do is maybe get started with the program. Welcome to everybody, and we're very glad that you all came. Thank you very much. And I thought we would explain sort of how the work came about, and what sort of our project, what vision it is. Anyway, and then we'll have some time for questions as well. And serve yourselves dinner, because there's plenty of food. So, my name is Silvia, and I've sort of been involved with this from the beginning. Anyway, so have other people too. But the Eugene Mennonite Church, which built this building and sold it to Wellspring School a number of years ago, and then rents the sanctuary for their services. The Eugene Mennonite Church has had a huge outreach program to the houseless, to the homeless, for years. And Pastor Steve Kimes did a lot of that work, but the congregation paid for it. Okay, so they do the hard work of earning the money to be able to give, and they give massively as a congregation. So really a lot of thanks to them for their leadership and for all that they've done. Anyway, so Steve Kimes was working with doing outreach, like giving water on hot days and food and hand warmers in winter and propane so that people could have a little heaters in their tents, and so on. And he's been doing that for years, and doing laundry for people as well, as has Marcia, who has left, I think, but she was doing laundry for a camp of houseless people for quite a number of years. And same with, along with Vicki, who's here in the audience as well. So, anyway, so in 2022, I joined Steve in this outreach that he was doing with this particular encampment of houseless people who were about 30 to 40 people, and they were camped by the side of the railroad tracks between Seneca and Bertelsen. And they were there for at least a year and a half and had built sort of makeshift structures to live in from pallets and things like that, wrapped with tarps and so on. And they had really made quite a community there. And then in early November of 2023, there was this extremely tragic and traumatic police sweep. When they threaten many times. They come and threaten that they're going to kick them off the places where they are, but then they never know whether they're coming or not. And then all of a sudden they decide they're coming. And so they had overnight notice that they were going to be swept. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, the bulldozers arrive, and the police and the railroad police and everybody else under the sun. Anyway, and so Steve and I, and this really wonderful group, a political group of activists, which Gloria can describe more than I can, but who have been greatly helping this group of people as well. Anyway, they came that day and helped a lot too, but we were moving them as fast as we could. And so then the Eugene police called the railroad police to keep us from going a little further down the tracks to take people, because there's nowhere where they're legal, right? And so anyway, we had to start it early in the morning at 7 because of everything. The police get there at 8 and everything starts. And then we had to work late at night after they left because you couldn't work while they were there. And then, of course, they bulldozed down all the structures they had made and all the rest of their possessions, whatever they couldn't grab. And Steve and I felt very traumatized emotionally by the whole thing, and we're not even affected by it, you know. So, and the sweeps have been happening about every 2 weeks now. It used to be, like, these people have been there for a year and a half or so, but now they're being swept all the time, and of course that sort of sent the community, it just broke it apart, and people had to go wherever they could, and some people went to Fall Creek, and anyway, it's just, is very hard on community, which is one thing that this houseless group had, which is very precious. So we decided to get together. We started talking in April of 24 with houseless people and with housed people about finding a more permanent solution to the problem. And so we formed a board for trying to find land to support, for our first village anyway, support 20 to 40 unhoused people to design and build, as they're able, their own dwellings that would be about 400 to 600 square feet. They will be net zero energy homes and maximally solar powered. eWeb will probably do like they did for Emerald Village Eugene. They did 1 meter for the whole 22 houses so that people are not paying $75 each just for basic services fees. So anyway, because the thing that we found is that the chronically unhoused have a very difficult time being housed because they don't have the money. They don't have enough income to be able to pay what's necessary. Once you're in housing, you have costs. So in order to solve that problem, we're doing net zero energy building as well as to be environmentally sound. And the purpose of that is to keep the costs for electricity and so on down. We'll have heat pumps and we'll have, all the different technologies that are solar powered and eco-friendly. And it would be also a regeneratively landscaped property. And what I'm talking about here is regenerative agriculture, and I don't know whether you all have heard of that. I'd never heard of it until 2021. But what it is an attempt to plant as many plantings, like ornamental grasses, shrubs, trees, etc., and steppable ground cover as possible in order to draw down as much carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, because plants, that's what they do, and they store 40% of the carbon in the soil. And if we could do that worldwide, we could reverse global warming. Regenerative agriculture is an international movement to do that. And so the reason to do that in our case is to be environmentally sound, but also because study after study after study has shown how much greenery and living around greenery helps mental health as well as physical well-being. And so this is what we need, all of us, actually. Then also, because there's costs once you get into housing, we want to start some businesses that people can work in, because it's very difficult for them to go out into the world and get a job. Many people in the group have been houseless for 10, 20 years on the street. So that's what we'd like to do, and then eventually we'd like to bring in trauma therapists as well. So it's sort of a Greg Boyle model. Greg Boyle is a Jesuit priest in Los Angeles who has worked for 40 years with the gangs of LA in trying to help them get away from the gang life and be able to enter the normal society. And so that's what he does too. He started 14 businesses for these people to work in. He takes 400 people each 18 months. And he has 24 trauma therapists on board too, on staff. So anyway, he said work is great, but it's not the solution. He said the purpose of the program is so that, he's speaking to the gang person, so that you can heal the pain within you that transmits in violence towards yourself or to others. So that's sort of what we're trying to do. And I was wondering if people have questions. Anyway, we'd like to entertain questions, whatever your thoughts are. Yes?
And he reads on this, you're looking for 2 to 4 acres, I think?
2 acres. 2 acres, yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any?
No, we have to go out and beg for it. There's not a lot of land that's available, and so we need to go and look at land and see if we can find an owner that might be willing to give us a piece of their land, maybe, something like that. We also have a realtor who's going to be looking for land for us, but so far I haven't heard much from him, so it's going to be a lot of work on our part. Yes?
So you need corporate sponsors
Yes.
to do this, and how are you going about getting those corporate sponsors?
Well, we're going to have to start talking to businesses. We're just going to have to sit down with them and ask them to sit down with us, and we'll talk about the advantages to business of having chronically unhoused people housed, you know, and...
Do you currently have those connections with those
No.
business people?
If you have any connections, let us know.
I'm new to Eugene, so
You're right. Right.
but I was thinking maybe like Lions Club or.
We're going to be doing presentations at Rotary Club and Lions Club and all different places to try to get the word out and try to become known.
So
So,
you're already on there.
no, we're not. We have to do that. Yeah. Yes. That's a good point. We reached out to Jerry's, for example, for donation to silent auction for this event. And they said that they only support projects that help schools and children. Oh, they probably would do that. I suspect they would, because I'm sure that Emerald Village Eugene was helped by them. Right, because like my aunt, Leslie Brocklebank, had a saying, well, there's several sayings on her mantle, and one was a quote from Paul Wellstone, which was, "Everyone does better when everyone does better," which is true. Yes, and that's what we want to do. We want to get involved with businesses and, you know, even where we have our account, the banks, we have our account. Right, no, that's absolutely correct. And anybody who is interested in helping us with this work is very welcome too.
So if I wanted to donate time with your outreach or whatever you're doing, do you have regular meetings?
Yes, we do. We have regular board meetings.
Okay.
In fact, I'd like to introduce our board. Let's have everybody stand up. Praise. George Neely is on our board. Here he is right here. And, Leon Masrick is there in the back. David Rivera. And there is Crystal. Crystal is on our board. Crystal Hubbard, yes. And I am. And then a woman named Amber Fitz is also on our board. And Thomas. Where's Thomas? He hasn't come back yet. What's that? Yeah. Anyway, Thomas is also on our board. And so, anyway, and our board is, in our bylaws, our board is made up of at least half unhoused people or people who've had lived experience of being unhoused on the street for years or whatever, you know, in the past. Because that's the only way for us to do relevant work, basically. And it's important, and we enjoy their company. So, it's good. Yes, Todd.
Is there a legal nonprofit, like a 501c3? And
Yes.
So what's the name of it, and have you accumulated any resources so far? How much have you saved up?
Well, let me see. We have 91,000. Anyway, and so anyhow, that's what's available at this point. And then what was the other question? Yes, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We got our 501c3 status on October 1st, the first day of the government shutdown, by the heroic people who work at the nonprofit section of the IRS, knowing that they weren't going to get paid and probably were going to get fired. They pushed through all these people and got us through, but it's not been updated on their website because there's no one there to update it. So you can't find it by looking at it. The name of our organization is Project Stability. The first village will be North Star Village. And that was chosen by the people who we first sat down with to talk about, you know, what to call the first village. So anyway, this sort of, yes,
If people weren't interested in being on the board,
yes.
but wanted to be involved somehow, volunteers, is there a particular way to contact, or do you have a list of tasks that you're wanting people
To
to
do?
that would be
Yeah.
helpful, or, yeah, where are you at, kind of, I mean, because it's so much in the kind of
Planning stages,
fundraising
yes, yes,
stages,
yes.
It's all about fundraising, you know, what are the tasks that people might get involved in?
Right, well, what I would say is Crystal is doing, which is very helpful, Crystal is doing all of our social media outreach, which would be a larger part of what we're trying to do too. But I would say we need to develop a list of tasks for people to do if they wanted to help with things, you know. And we will do that as we, in the near future, for sure, because we have to organize it. And try to organize the financing of it.
So just to follow up a little bit, so communication and people should use the Gmail address and somebody will respond, say, you know, I have this many hours, or I have this talent, or I have, is it?
Right. Yeah, let me see. That would be fine to send an email to the Gmail address, or the Project Stability Oregon at gmail.com. Yeah, that's good. Or you can call me, or whatever, or Thomas. He doesn't have his business card here, but anyway.
And your numbers are on the flyer, is that
Well, our number, both of our numbers are on the flyer. I have a business card out there. My name and number is on that too. But anyway, yes. The more people are involved, the better it will be, because we need the ideas too. Whatever people want to do. Great, good, yes.
Do you have a target area that you want?
West Eugene, industrial West Eugene. Because you can't move into a neighborhood, people are not going to accept it. And even in industrial West Eugene, we'll have to go to all the neighboring businesses and talk to them about what we're trying to do, and how we will have trash service, we'll have recycling, we'll have all the services that keep it from being an eyesore. Plus it'll be an 8-foot fence around the place. Because the people who are houseless want to keep the police out. So, yes.
Are there social services available? A lot of the people I'm seeing are clearly vets who are like shell shocked, and they never get to families don't know.
Right, and we will develop those services. We will have to develop those services, especially like the therapeutic services and that kind of thing. Whatever people need is what we're going to do.
You know, they need a way to stabilize. I mean, we're talking about this when they come out. Families throw them out because they can't bear and waking up in the night screaming, you know, the shell cells really down.
Right, exactly, yeah. No, we've really done a number on our people.
Can't hear it, won't be on the tape.
Yeah. So anyway. Anybody else? Anything else?
Do you have a specific property?
No, I wish we did. We have to look, and it's very hard to. We've looked at some properties, but they haven't been adequate. There's one that we might be able to buy, but it's not big enough really. But it's a marsh, and we'd have to spend, hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million to drain it. And then the city of Eugene wants you to put a road through there too. And it's just, there's a lot of problems with that. But what we need to do now is to look for properties. In fact, that would be something that people could help us with, actually. Yeah, yes?
Do you
city involved at all? with
No.
this? Do you want them involved?
No.
Okay.
The city of Eugene is very houseless unfriendly.
Okay.
Yeah. It's mainly a Republican council, which is fine. It's just that they don't know the houseless and don't have a fond feeling towards them. And if you don't know anyone, if you don't know people, you can't get an idea of what the situation is.
This would have to be developed within the city limits, is that correct?
Within the city limits, so it would have to be approved by the city.
Right.
We'd have to build to code. We definitely would do that.
Right.
And it has to be zoned appropriately as well.
So what zoning would this be for this?
Probably what other groups have found is that it's very difficult to build a house on a foundation and comply with city code and get everything, all their parameters met. And so what mainly people do is to do an RV type park where you get these, it would be at least 2 of the 8-foot wide and 14-foot long trailer beds that you would haul on a pickup truck, you know? And so you get 2 of those and then build housing on it that's 10-foot wide, and then you'd have a 2-story dwelling. You'd have a loft, but a stand-up loft. But it would have to be zoned for that. That's so it's very difficult. None of it's easy. Yes.
Do you have some individuals in mind, you know, in the community who are ready to start building homes, who have the skills and the determination, and, you know, who will come out at the end of this after having done all that work?
You mean people who will live there?
The people who are going to build these places as residents, so that means you must have some people in mind. At least there should be a gathering of
There are
vultures around this big carcass that you're creating.
Right. Well, there are definitely multiple people who have volunteered to help build. Crystal's husband, for example, who can build anything. Thomas is very good with building. He's on our board. And Gala Martin, also from the Mennonite Church, has volunteered to help with that as well. So, but first we have to find land and buy it. Yes. It will be 400 to 600 square feet. Right, but anyway, it's difficult to live in a very small square footage and have a bathroom and a kitchen that's adequate. Well, what people can build however small they want to, but we're allowing them to build, you know, up to 400, 600 square feet, whatever. Yeah. Right. It's very expensive to build, for sure. Yeah. Yes. Anyway. So, any other questions?
Who created this beautiful plan?
Oh, this one, the diagram, you mean? Oh, yeah, I drew that to scale for the housing. Thank you. Not with software. I don't do software. Because software gets pounded to pieces. The computer suffers. But anyway, but then Gala and Martin made this sort of mock-up community, sort of 3D model. So anyway. So anyhow, yes.
There's several churches with property. Unfortunately, none of my churches don't own this anymore, but.
Right.
Thinking about some of the projects that Square One Villages.
Yeah.
They benefited from churches donating. Churches sort of go through big demographic changes and,
Well, like our Redeemer Lutheran.
Right.
Our Redeemer Lutheran just, I think Square One bought that for $250,000, which is very low. I mean, our Redeemer Lutheran gave it to them for that price.
Has that been a part of the conversation?
That is a part of the conversation, and also to talk to different church groups, because there are definitely church groups that are interested in it and trying to help with it. You know, so, yeah.
I guess, and part of that question is when you say West Eugene Industrial, I mean, this West 8th is like Church Road, but I don't know who has, like 2 acres of property
Right, they may not, but we
I
can,
mean, if you had some flexibility about where you were, I wonder if something might open up. I mean, I'm thinking North Eugene, River Road, it seems like there are churches that have these huge tracts of land that may or may not be used
right,
very much.
yeah. Well,
Anyway.
so, possibly like, yeah, the Baptist church is way out in Coburg somewhere.
Oh,
now.
well, there's that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know.
even, yeah, close
No
to
idea.
it.
Yeah, so we'll see. One thing that our place needs to be on a bus line, because people don't all have cars, you know. In fact, not very many have cars. So, what's that, hon?
It needs to be close enough to town.
Yes. That's the hard part. It's hard to do all of it, but we will do it, so it will happen. Yeah. It's good, yes.
So anyway, I donated my property to Square One Villages, because, after I die, what would happen, Why should I leave it in capitalism? Because they're going to take it out of capitalism into a community land trust.
Right, which is fantastic.
And everyone in this room should consider that. I have children, but they actually have a living and they don't need my inheritance. But there's the people who really need the inheritance. And
Right.
so the status of the thing now is there's a place or two more dwellings to be built. If anybody wants to pick up a shovel and build a home there, then they can have a home for the rest of their life, and they don't have to pay for the land. And all they have to do is figure out how to pay for the materials, and then they can build a house. And there's room for two more houses on our property. It's at 30th and Hilliard. We got 4 bus lines. We got all kinds of conveniences everywhere. And so come on, anybody here wants to come and build a house on free land? Ring it up.
That's a great law.
That's really good, Todd. Thank you so much. That's
So maybe we can
excellent.
build skills among these people,
Right,
about, it's not rocket science, you dig a hole, it has to be 24 inches deep, you have to put a trench. The city code is not that hard. I have already overcome that. When I moved there, I had to convert my garage, this is where I live now. I live in the garage. And I'm a retired accountant, I don't know anything of this, I'm 65 years old. And anybody in this room could rise to the challenge of understanding the city code and build a house on this property.
Very good.
It's not rocket science. Let's do it.
thank you. Thank you very much. So, anyway, so enjoy the rest of dinner, and then we have dessert too coming along. And I'd like to introduce Thomas. Thomas.
No, not yet.
You're introduced.
Thomas is our president of our board. Would you want to come up and say a few words here?
Oh, yeah,
What?
Hey, Sylvia.
Certainly. Sorry. Don't hold it too close to you. It's too loud.
So again, welcome everybody for being here. I was chronically houseless for 14 years, and I don't know what my purpose was out there. It took many years for me to figure out what I was doing there. I got comfortable. Then finally, after 7 months of my original date of being homeless, I moved to Four Corners, and I still didn't know my purpose there. And then finally, maybe 5 years ago, I realized my purpose here is to help others. I got clean and sober 2.5 years, 2 years ago, got off the streets, and I want to give back to the people that I consider family. Project Stability has been a dream for many years. Then I met Silvia, because she used to come down to the tracks and bring us food, and I wanted to be part of something bigger, and I wanted to bring family members from the streets onto something better, and that's what Project Stability is all about. We need this today. We need it tomorrow. We don't want to be better than anybody else, but we want to be different. We're going to be proud of what we do and set the example for everybody. I wasn't really prepared for this, but I'm glad I did it anyway.